Welcome to the Practical Consciousness Podcast with James and Lisa, where we help you tap into your highest selves in everyday life. Here we go. Hi, welcome to Practical Consciousness, the podcast with James and Lisa. I'm James.
And I'm Lisa.
Welcome, everybody. So today we agreed that we're going to talk about agreements.
Yes, we agreed to that.
See what I did there? That's
yeah.
Okay, so so clever. When we talk, yeah, I'm patting myself on the back. When we talk about agreements, we're really talking about it in context of kind of law of attraction.
Yeah, it's very similar to manifesting. Well, it is.
It is. Yeah,
it is. It's manifest.
And so when traditionally, when Abraham Hicks and The Secret and all those kind of law of attraction avocations or teachings or sharings or channeling, they kind of paint the picture that you ask the universe for something and then you raise your vibration so that you match the ask, and then the ask comes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And then we've already shared the different kind of practical ways that you can raise your vibration as well through games and playing things, as well as the idea that you can lessen your resistance, right? Because
yes.
Resistance slows down the manifestation.
Yes. If you say, where is it?
Right.
That's resistance.
And we've also shared this idea that having is evidence of wanting. And so whatever you're experiencing in your life is evidence of the ask that you've asked for. And the obvious pushback on that is I didn't ask to get, abused by a parent or robbed or
ill,
carjacked or get sick or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And our answer to that is that, but your focus has been on that.
Yes.
And so the focus is an ask.
Yeah, like a fear. Like if you are someone who's always worried that, let's say, that your girlfriend's going to leave you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's probably going to happen because you're focusing on it. I mean, worrying about something is putting focus on it, just like pretending that something is manifesting in your life, like getting a new girlfriend or whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're focusing on it.
And so what we wanted to talk about today is, in this idea of this agreement, is that you see, it's a different way of seeing what we're talking about here. When we're talking about you manifest what you focus on. Another way to think about it, which honestly to me is a much simpler and more more attainable, I guess, way of seeing how we manifest our experience, is this idea that we make these agreements. And the idea here is that when you look around, when you look at your experience, when you just like, I'll even ask the listeners to do this with us for a minute and picture the room you're sitting in right now, listening to this podcast, or maybe you're in a car or whatever. And if you look around that room, or look around, what you're seeing is what you're agreeing to see. And what we mean by that is that we're all co-creating our physical experience, this physical world we're in, this body we're in. We've shared this in a previous episode, I think on our nature, is the potential is infinite for us.
Yes.
Right. We can manifest literally anything we want.
People don't understand that because they are only just seeing what's right in front of them.
Yes. They've agreed to the limits that they're experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing, just so people kind of wonder, why are you talking about something you've sort of talked about before? And we were talking about this before the recording, is how when you're on this type of journey of growth, you just discover different teachings and different ways of looking at things. And this is just another way of looking at kind of this, basically the same thing, but it's whatever resonates with you best. So maybe this is a way of looking at it that it might turn on a light bulb and you're like, oh, I agreed to this.
Yeah. A great analogy I'll give you is, this is kind of extreme probably, but if you think about, Nazi Germany, and all of us on the outside, reading the history and et cetera of this, because you and I never lived that experience, obviously.
Right.
We ask ourselves an obvious question, like, how did something like this happen? How did this man rise to the power he had, and then how did everyone execute this? And you might come across somebody who lived in that time, in that experience, and they're like, I was never a Nazi. I never condoned any of these things, right? And that you would look at them and say, well, you were at least complicit in the sense that you didn't stop it. You didn't try to change it or do anything else, right? And that's the example we're talking about of agreement. That person who maybe was not a member of the Nazi Party, didn't believe that, all those things, and wasn't involved in the genocide, they
Right.
experienced it because they agreed to it.
Agreed to witness it.
Agreed to the agreed to the awareness of the possibility that can happen.
Yeah. So let's bring it down to something like
more
a little
day
less.
To day.
Yeah. And I mentioned this earlier when you and I were talking, the paint on the walls in this room. I could say to you, well, we moved into this house and, it already had this paint on the walls. I didn't agree to this paint, but I did because I had a choice. I could have repainted. Actually, I did repaint the walls, but let's just say I didn't. I had a choice. I could have said, okay, I'm going to agree to living with this paint on the walls. And I'm, that's the color of paint I'm going to see every day when I come into my office. Or I could have said, I think I'd like to freshen it up, or I don't like that color, or whatever. So that's just like more of a day-to-day, simple,
exactly.
basic. Like when you're looking, like when I look out into my hallway, I agreed to that hallway.
Yeah, everything in your experience, in your physical world, is you agreed to. Another way to say it, and this is just kind of coming to me, another way is that you claim it. And here's why we feel like this is a kind of a higher consciousness concept here, is that we talk about, if you raise your vibration, we're energy coaches, so if you raise your energy, then the universe will match that energy and bring you a raised experience, right?
Yes,
that's what we call
lots of science behind that.
Right, we call it higher consciousness. And consciousness being what you're aware of, right? And higher, not in a judgment way, but higher in a ascension way, right? You're ascending to your truth.
Yes.
To the divine in you, right? To the creator that you are. And then now you're making choice. When we say higher consciousness, we're saying you're making choices that are truer to your nature, AKA kind, compassionate, good for all humanity, those kind of choices.
Yeah.
Those are true because they stand in truth, meaning that when we're kind to each other as human beings, we're kind to animals, we're kind, that's higher consciousness, and that's just truth.
Yeah.
Right? It's not political, it's not a perspective, it is truth. And so when we talk about manifesting, when you manifest your desire, you manifest your desires because there's an alignment that comes in the truth in you, and then you start experiencing the truth.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
this is really super, I mean, like way philosophical. But what I'm trying to convey, and maybe I'm not doing it well, but is that this idea of these agreements and these claims that we're talking about, that's a different level of manifestation.
It is.
Than the lower vibration of
Yeah.
manifestation.
I mean, it's basically taking responsibility for everything that's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
We have free will. You have a choice.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything or not do anything.
Right. And here's the kicker that we know to be true, like we just know to be true, is that when you make the choice and you agree to manifest pain and suffering, that's not bad, right? We're not going to judge that. And because it's maybe it's what is right for you right now in your experience.
Yep, because we grow from everything. We grow from every single experience, every relationship. So you might be in a bad relationship where somebody's abusing you, but there can be a purpose.
Yeah.
You can choose to see the purpose.
Right.
Or not see the purpose.
That's right. And that's what we're talking about. That's the choice in seeing the divine, and the choice in seeing the creator in you. When you recognize, when you accept, and you allow the possibility and the awareness of what you are experiencing is your creation, then that's when you start making conscious creative choices. You create, you can choose to create what you don't know.
Yeah, you can become a powerful creator.
Yeah. And let's talk about that for a second. So when we say why we kind of are having this particular episode, when we talk about these agreements, hopefully everybody can, I'm hoping that our listeners can set aside some of their biases or whatever for a second and open up to what we're offering here, which is that you can choose, you can make a conscious choice and agree to, there's more than what you know.
Yeah.
Everything you've been taught, your past history, everything you've been told to believe, everything you've been told that matters, going to college, getting a degree, having 2.5 children and a, 2-car garage with a minivan and, blah, blah, blah. At some point, someone told you that is the right thing. That is how you should be. And you bought it.
Yeah.
You agreed to it. And then you
told yourself. Mm-hmm.
You agreed to that. You said, yes, I agree. Therefore, your experience is that.
Yeah. It's just like right now it's raining outside. Okay. Mm-hmm. We've had a beautiful long summer. Yeah, we did have many days of smoke. So people are happy about the rain. But, the winters in Seattle are just rain, right?
Yeah.
And I could look out the window right now and say, rain is bad. It's gloomy. It ruins the day. It's no fun. Now I can't go for a walk or whatever. But that would be me choosing to see it that way based on probably like you're suggesting, maybe even that other people have taught me since I was young, that I remember I have vivid memories of sitting at the window in our house when I was little, looking out the window on my birthday, April 3rd, usually in Ohio, it was frosty out, and being bummed. Like it's always, kind of like an Eeyore thing. I remember just being like, it's always like this on my birthday, like literally.
Yeah, no, That's a good example. So
Yeah.
you agreed that weather is gloomy.
Yeah. So like right now I could look out and out the window. Let's just forget about the smoke, the recent smoke, right? This is just a rainy day in winter. And I can look out and do the whole what I just did. Or I could look out the window and say, wow, look how vibrant the green is. Look how vibrant the trees are because of the rain. And maybe notice some, like a little bird I noticed earlier in this little puddle kind of splashing its wings around and things. Notice those things. That's my choice.
That's your choice.
I
Yeah.
have a choice. That's what I'm going to agree to.
The risk you have, though, you got to be careful, is that if you're kind of like faking it till you make it, or pretending,
Pretending,
or
yeah.
silver lining, like,
sometimes that's a useful tool. It depends on where you are. If you need to really get out of the low of the lows, you can use that tool.
You can. The reason I was saying to be cautious is that the energy hasn't actually shifted, right? You're better off, actually, to your analogy. You're better off saying, so I'm noticing myself focusing on the gloom and the nastiness,
day being ruined,
and here comes winter. I'm not ready. I need a few more days of summer, whatever, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You notice it, and
mm-hmm.
you let it. We talk about this all the time. You allow it to be. You allow that energy to be there.
Yeah.
You don't try to change it. You don't try to push it away.
That's a really, really good point, because that will just, if you do the pushing it away, or, focusing on something else and not allowing it, then
Yes.
it's gonna come back, because
it is going to repeat itself, right?
It's energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going on a different topic now.
No. Well, it's actually a great analogy, because when we talk about these agreements, what we're saying is that you, in that moment, in that particular space, you're aware of you're agreeing to the perspective and the experience, right?
Yeah.
You're just aware.
Yeah.
And then now you can make a conscious choice. And
Yes.
that conscious choice, this is why I feel like the context of it being agreement versus resistance or allowing and all that kind of thing is that what you're making a conscious choice is, I'm agreeing that there's more.
Yeah.
That there's that
there's another way too. It's not what I learned.
Right. That's the key here, is that you recognize that you're the small you, the little Lisa,
the ego
that plays a small game and sees a small world with all its limits and
Eeyore, the little girl looking out the window on her birthday going.
Yeah, that's what you're actually seeing. Yeah. That's where you're saying, oh, I've made this agreement to believe X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Rain is gloomy, and that Seattle rain in the winter is never ending, and blah, blah, whatever, the whole story you just laid out.
Yeah.
And so at the practical piece of this that our listeners can practice is when they recognize in their experience something undesirable.
Yes. Just like rain.
The first question you can ask yourself is, when did I agree to this?
Yeah.
And then the next question is, or it's not a question, actually. It's almost like a declaration. The next thing that they can say is, I no longer agree to this
way of seeing things.
This limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm agreeing to more.
Agreeing to the possibility, even. You could just start with agreeing to there's a possibility.
Potential, possibility.
Yeah.
I like also the word claim, because we are all entitled, and I hesitate to use that word, but entitled in a positive way. We are entitled to everything.
Yeah, we're born with that right.
Yeah.
Well, some people don't believe that, but I believe that.
No, they've agreed that that's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore they only experience that truth that they agreed to.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
this is the I know there's going to be, especially, you know, all the logical, analytical people who are listening to this going, these two people have really like lost it, right?
They haven't said that already.
Yeah, well, I think in this case, they're all scratching their head saying, I don't know what they're talking about. And that makes perfect sense.
Mm.
And all I would say to them is allow yourself to contemplate this.
Yeah, just open up a little bit.
Yeah, and look around your own experience. Like I was saying, look in the room you're in right now. And the way you're experiencing it is the way you agreed to experience it.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. And it's going to be as unique as each individual that walks this planet.
Yeah, everybody in your house experiences your house differently.
Now, here's the kicker that I want everyone to kind of, to think about is not everything in your experience did you directly manifest. Meaning that, like COVID right now is going on. You didn't necessarily manifest COVID, right? We collectively manifest.
Collective. There's a lot of things that are collective.
Right. Probably 90%.
Most of the things that are going on in the world right now.
90%, 90% of what you're experiencing is a collective manifestation.
Yes.
Right? Because I hope our listeners would agree that everything in our world is a manifestation of a thought that someone acted on to create. Right? The house you're living in, the car you're driving, the restaurants you're going to, the food you're eating,
the clothes
the mic I'm talking into was an idea that got created by somebody. Right? Well, that's collective manifestation. Like that's all of us creating these through specific energy fields, right? Well, but the reason you're experiencing it is because you agreed to the collective manifestation.
Yeah.
So
that's a deep one.
That is very deep, but
that's a deep one.
But think about it for a second, because it's very freeing if you allow it to be a very freeing experience, because now you can look at maybe something that you're suffering from, or something, you know, like the rain. You didn't manifest the rain. We collectively manifest the rain, but you manifest the experience of the rain.
My experience.
Your experience.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's really important, because that takes the victimness out of it. Right? You're no longer a victim to the circumstances. Right? You create the experience in the circumstances. And we collectively created the circumstance.
Yeah.
Hopefully that hopefully that kind of, like you said, it's kind of deep.
But I think it's a good, and we've given our listeners some practical ways of experiencing this idea. So it would be nice to hear what other people thoughts are on this.
Yeah. Join the conversation. Go to the
on the Facebook page.
Yeah. Practical Consciousness Podcast Facebook page and share. And here's another kind of, I want to give everybody, I guess, a call to action, or a practical thing to do here. And so think about something that they want, like the old traditional law of attraction. Like usually it's money. I want
a red Corvette.
Or, you know, a mate that is good to me, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And think about that, whatever that is. Let's say you want to create an extra $1,000 income every month. And So whatever that is, say it, claim it, right? Claim it. And then ask yourself this fundamental question is, where am I not agreeing to that? Because what my experience has been, you'll have a memory, a belief, something will come up that you'll instantly go, well, I've agreed that time worked is money earned.
Yeah, there's all kinds
and
of.
so there's no time to create another $1,000, right? And so that's what you've agreed to. You've agreed that time worked is money earned, and therefore there's no possibility of making $1,000 or more a month. You can want it all day long, but the possibility doesn't exist in your realm.
Yeah.
So that's the agreement. How do you change the agreement? The agreement I'm now going to be is that I'm now open, and I'm allowing an additional $1,000 a month, however it needs to be. And I'm not going to, I'm agreeing to be open and aware and notice and expand my awareness so that I can see the possibility when it shows up. And my experience has been, it's crazy how it works, but it could be like within minutes, days, whatever it is. All of a sudden you'll watch some TV show or some infomercial or something about some multi-level marketing thing that just resonates with you. And all of a sudden you'll be like, I'm going to do this. And you do it and you don't even realize it happened. That's the crazy part about it. Yeah. And all of a sudden you look back on it and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm earning an extra $1,000 a month doing this multi-level marketing thing. And I didn't even think it was possible days ago.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And so many of us, if we actually talked about it, we could share those experiences. And all it is all you're doing is agreeing to more. You're agreeing to possibility, like you said, and you're agreeing to opportunity, and you're agreeing to, honestly, you're also agreeing that the universe is providing abundance whenever you want it to.
Yeah. Everything that's happening in your life is for you.
And you agree to it.
Everything.
Yeah. You agreed to it. You either created it directly, you co-created it with others, or it was created and you agreed to it being in your experience.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think that's all we wanted to kind of cover on that one. Yeah. I know I feel this, I'll confess a little bit. I feel a bit of a heaviness to this. Usually when we record our podcast, the energy is light and airy and happy, and this feels a little heavy. So if you're experiencing that heaviness, just know that there's a message there.
Yeah.
Right. And that there's something that in you that needs to be made aware. And, hopefully we didn't come across as too heavy and kind of down, but our message really is a light message. And our message is there's so much more potential for you. Yes. And you just have to agree to open it up to it.
Yes.
And that's when the secret and all the real law of attraction, that's when it really starts happening. Because,
it's all right there for you.
You're open to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, I think we're done, and we say thanks for listening. Join the conversation. Thanks, everyone. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.